Guys, so there's like a million things to watch right now, but I just wanted to throw a quick plug to What We Do in the Shadows, the latest season. If no one has been watching it, it's been great as expected because it's What We Do in the Shadows. But this last episode, I don't want to spoil anything if you're not caught up on What We Do in the Shadows at all. So I'll just say it is a wedding involving at least one of our main characters. But there's a song at the end of this episode. Like the last, you only hear about 30 seconds of this song. If you've seen an earlier season of What We Do in the Shadows, you know that Laszlo and Nadja have kind of a band of sorts. Not very good band. Mm-hmm. So they sing like 30 minutes, or like 30 minutes, 30 seconds. I wish it was 30 minutes. They sing, you hear a snip of this song, and it's called Who Comes First on the Wedding Night? It is so catchy, and it has not escaped my head, and it is an absolutely filthy song. I can't really repeat any of the lyrics, but I really am hoping that FX, whoever, creators of What We Do in the Shadows, please release this song in its entirety because it needs to be played at every wedding from now on. It is so good.
I gotta look this. I'm not caught up. I think I'm somewhere in season 2 on What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh,
so
dude,
I'm definitely pretty far behind. But
yeah, just check out. This isn't really a spoiler. It's just, I mean. It's so funny, dude.
I'm wondering if who came up with the song because I'm absolutely willing to point fingers at Kyle Newacek from Workaholics. That's director on the show.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Carl from Workaholics.
It's exactly what you think it would be about.
That sounds like one of his songs. But yeah,
it's insanely catchy. You really only hear like a couple verses and like the chorus. But it's fantastic.
You've never heard a song about fucking aliens. You're missing out.
So yeah, check out What We Do in the Shadows, everybody. On FX and Hulu streaming.
And check out the This Is Important podcast, which is all the Workaholics guys podcasting after you listen to this one.
All right, welcome to another Mishable podcast, Horror Decomposed. My name is Zach. With me today, the Criterion one, the graduate, Kris Pistol.
Aye. Sorry, my hip just went out of place.
You weren't expecting that because I always introduce Casey first. So.
It's true.
And then, of course, Professor Casey. How's it going?
What's up? I'm awake.
So we have a lot to talk about today, so we should probably just dive in. There's a lot to get through. We had to, what did we talk about last time? Does anyone remember?
Last time we were doing our Not Shark Week, man.
Yeah, that's right. We did Not Shark Week. So we did that right as like Nope was coming out and then Prey came out. And so now we're catching up and talking about both of those as well as MIDSUMMER Scream.
I was going to ask you if we reviewed Predators on this show, but given you can't remember last week, 2 weeks ago.
No, we did not.
Yeah.
We did not.
Okay. I couldn't remember if that lined up with our podcasting or not.
Predators or Predator?
Wait, no. The
Shane Black Predator?
The Shane Black Predator. That one.
Yeah, that was just Predator.
Not Adrian Brody Predators.
But I feel like we should start with our feature scare, which is not Prey, but we will get to Prey. Our feature scare today is Nope.
I thought our feature scare was the sick ass monster convention. What the fuck, Zach?
Why am I having memories of us doing like the Nope, yes, who's on first bit in the last episode?
We did do that, but that bit was how like we should be reviewing Nope in the last episode, but we weren't.
Okay. We did the bit, we just didn't talk about the movie. Gotcha.
We have a bunch of fashionably late reviews this week. Though by the time this comes out, they probably won't even be fashionably late. They're just going to be late, but that's okay. So, feature scare today. Nope, directed by Jordan Peele. So Kris and I have seen this. Casey has not seen it yet.
Hey, look, I'm prepping for a new semester and had to finish summer school in the same week. I have no time to go see movies right now.
You are all good, man.
Yeah.
You are all good. But Kris and I did, so we're going to review this without spoilers because, Casey, we do not want to spoil this for you.
Yeah, I do want to see
so
it. I
hard.
just haven't had time.
So difficult.
We will be able to dance around it. We'll dance around it. So, yeah, Kris, what were your first thoughts? So this was Jordan Peele's first feature in what, a few years since Us came out. When did Us come out?
Ooh.
Research, everybody.
A few years ago.
2019, so not that long ago. So he's done like the Twilight Zone series in between that and stuff like that.
And, the Lorena Bobbitt documentary.
I totally fucking forgot about the Twilight series.
It's pretty. It's solid. It's solid.
Okay, you're the first person I heard say that. Everyone else said it was not good.
I mean, it's not the original, but I mean, it's never going to be the original.
What is?
I haven't like seen the latest series.
I mean, they said it's better than the Forrest Whitaker one.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're comparing it to like the Creepshow revival, which I'm also not caught up on, it's maybe on par. But there were some episodes of that I probably liked a little more than the Twilight Zone, but I don't remember it like super vividly.
Yeah, Kev's pretty into Creepshow, man. I'm just not into it. I can't get into that series at all.
There's a great episode in the first season with like a figure in a dollhouse that's really great. And it's like this girl sees this like haunted figure appearing in her dollhouse, and then all of a sudden things start happening in the real world. It's a great idea. It's really creepy.
I wonder if it's like the Doctor Who episode where they get trapped in a dollhouse.
No, this is a severed head.
Yeah, and it keeps like murdering like her figures, and then like she's afraid it's gonna happen in real life. It's a
little different. So a little different.
It's a really good idea, and I just would love to see it expanded on, or even them do a sequel to it, because it was such a really like eerie idea. So anyway, Nope, directed by Jordan Peele. This is a good movie, everybody.
Yep, it's fucking great. I think it's my favorite Jordan Peele movie.
Ooh,
putting it out there.
God, rub it in, guys. Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
I liked it a lot. I didn't like it quite to the degree Kris did, but I also was not feeling good when I saw this movie, and I immediately after I finished viewing it, I said I need to watch this again.
Never blame diarrhea on the movie, Zach.
No, it wasn't that. I had a terrible headache.
Headache in his asshole.
It's a butt headache.
I was persistent because I really wanted to see it, and I had a great time. So let's just get into Nope. So your just initial thoughts, Kris.
Yeah, this was like super kind of surprising. So I think we talked about how the first trailer for this was fucking great, even though we saw it 100 times. Like it became like a running joke with me and my wife that every single time we went to a movie, it's like, I wonder when the Nope trailer's gonna play. Oh, there it is. But the second trailer I remember seeing, and it very, very much had a different tone to it. It was kind of looking like more comedic.
Yeah, really, honestly, not a good trailer.
Yeah, honestly, not a good trailer. I wish I'd never seen that trailer. But this, I'll say, like, this does have some elements of comedy, maybe not quite as much as something like Get Out. Although I've heard people kind of differ on that. Like, to me, like, Get Out is very intentionally, like, there's comedy, but it's, like, never really, like, trumps the horror. Like, it's very kind of like going about that sort of like Scream tone, where there's clearly a lot of comedy, but I wouldn't call it a horror comedy. Yeah, but this kind of more reminded me of something like Tremors, or a more sort of like edgier Spielberg thing, which, you know, as soon as I watched this, I immediately started listening to interviews and clocking the references, or clocking like what movies sort of inspired this one. And, you know, Jordan Peele has dropped, you know, Jurassic Park, Tremors,
Evangelion,
obviously.
Which I know nothing about.
Obviously, Signs. There's a shot that totally is like an Akira ripoff or homage. Yeah, it's just kind of like a bit of a gumbo, but it feels like really sort of cohesive. Like it feels like
it's a spicy gumbo.
One solid like tonal thing. A bit of M. Night Shyamalan, like good M. Night Shyamalan kind of in here, with just how sort of like it plays scenes out a little bit long, like it plays like there's a lot of these like monologue scenes where characters sort of like tell you a story or whatever, and you're kind of engrossed into what they're talking about.
Yeah, that element does feel very like Signs.
Yeah, and then when you kind of like get to like the more horrifying sequences, it's like shit.
Yeah. Yeah, totally for me, I feel like Get Out and Us were a bit more unified and consistent with their tone. Like Us has the same kind of just really eerie vibe throughout the entire movie. There isn't really a lot of humor in Us. It's very much just dark and kind of just unsettling, long one night, horror movie. Get Out has kind of consistent humor throughout it, but also this kind of eerie, again, undertone because you know something's wrong and you're just waiting for shoes to drop. This movie has that, but I understand the kind of inconsistent trailers because the humor, I feel like, even though I enjoyed the humor, it takes a little longer for this movie to get going. You have moments of that kind of Jordan Peele, like, there's a scene in like a barn where Daniel Kaluuya's character is like, checking on the horses and then something happens. So you get like kind of sprinkles of like this eeriness before like
It's a bait and switch though.
Yeah, it is. But I do feel like it just for better or worse, the tone isn't quite as consistent throughout as his last movies. I would say probably for me, this falls in between Get Out and Us. I think I like this a little more than Us, maybe not quite as much as Get Out. But it's still extremely entertaining throughout the whole thing. It's just the pacing's a little all over the place. It takes a little long to get into it. And there's kind of like a whole setup and it's just the reveal of everything that's going on is more drawn out compared to Get Out and Us, where you kind of know what's.
I don't know. I kind of liked that though. I kind of liked being drawn into it.
Yeah.
And once the sort of like, the elements are sort of laid out, it feels pretty satisfying, I thought.
Yeah.
Like this is my favorite, like written Jordan Peele movie. Like I think this is his strongest script. There's like, I rewatched Us and I kind of noticed a weird thing within that movie where it feels like after Act 2, it doesn't really know where to go, and they even sort of make a joke about that. Like, they're like in this house, and they're like, I think the daughter makes a joke about how we could like set up some traps, and they're like, "Are you just trying to do the plot of Home Alone?" And it's like that feels like a logical place to where that movie could go, but then they just don't. Then they just drive off and split up, and it kind of feels a little meandering.
Rambo did it. They had no shame in doing Home Alone.
Yeah, this one feels a lot more satisfying in that different characters end up coming together, and there's like, it feels like a logical sort of like into an ending place in a sense. You can definitely feel the Spielberg, I think, influence in that in those elements, especially like something like Jaws or Jurassic Park too. But yeah, I thought this was totally satisfying. So much fun, really fucking creepy. Great characters, great acting. Is it Daniel Kaluuya?
I think it's Kaluuya.
Kaluuya? Okay, Daniel Kaluuya. He's great. He's so different than he was in Get Out. I mean, he's really playing a character.
It's very different. His character OJ is much more reserved and internal.
It's great seeing like a blockbuster movie where like the two leads are playing characters. Like they're very specific characters. They're not just like guy and girl, like it's not just some basic bullshit. Very well done. Yeah, I can't wait to see this again.
Yeah, I'll just give a really brief kind of setup for people that don't know anything about the movie. So it centers around Daniel Kaluuya's character OJ, Keke Palmer's character M. They kind of run this horse ranch that is owned by their dad, and they have to take over for him for reasons that you'll find out in the movie. So they train horses for use in film and TV productions, and you can see as they're taking over, OJ is very much, he avoids the limelight. He's a very internal person, kind of inward, very smart, very very observant, individual. Whereas his younger sister, played by Keke Palmer, M, is clearly very charismatic. She's really good at making like a sales pitch. She's kind of the voice of, the business now. And you can tell she kind of has aspirations beyond this ranch, and she wants to get out of there, and OJ kind of wants to stay there more or less. So, at one point, they find out that Stephen Ewan's character, who plays Jupe, owner of Jupiter's Claim, who used to be a young child TV star, he wants to buy their ranch, and so they're kind of weighing that. And then inciting incident happens, and they, decide, well, what should we do? I did think the kind of whole, without really getting too much into it at all, the backstory of Stephen Ewan's character, which kind of starts the movie, it feels a little disjointed from the main plot, and I know there are connections, thematically.
Don't agree.
Okay. For me, I just feel it feels... Well, I'll just say it's disconnected from our main characters.
Sure.
In a way. Yeah.
But thematically, totally ties in with the movie, I felt like.
Sure. Again, I also had a massive headache while I was watching it. So I needed to watch it again.
This movie tapped into like two fears. I guess I'll say what they are, but yeah, and sort of leave them vague. But fear of like animal attacks and tornadoes, just like evoking that sort of feeling. Really sort of feel like it tapped into that really well.
Yeah, I did. I do wish we could have seen more of Jupiter's Claim, the theme park. I love when a theme park is featured in like a horror movie.
You see it a lot, though.
We don't really get to see much of it. If you really want to
see more of it, go on the Universal Studios tour where it's featured, and you stop in it for like 5 minutes.
Well, that's why. Nice. Well, that's why I was surprised we didn't see more of it because it's featured in like the back lot. We really don't get like a walkthrough of it. It's not a big park.
Let's be real. They just didn't want to take it down, so they're like, let's put it on the tour.
I remember the intro for it being fairly long, though. Like the character sort of like walks around, and we follow them.
I mean, maybe I blacked out.
We set up something that's going to come back later in the movie.
Yeah, I have to watch it again. It's not featured as much as like, I don't know, Jaws 3D or something like that, or Ghoulies 2, like like the carnival. It's not featured to that extent because you're going back and forth between there and you're going to the horse ranch that OJ and M own, and you're going to the Burbank Fry's Electronics.
Oh yeah, that was surprising. Did they shoot this before Fry's closed?
No, it was after it was closed. I read an interview with the owner of Fry's, and so I think they still had like a lot of the props in there, which you don't really get to see most of the sci-fi props outside of the UFO crashing into the front. I was hoping we'd see more of it, but they had to like populate all the shelves with products and things like that and put cash registers in. Though you don't see the checkout area in the Burbank Fry's.
For those of you that listen to podcasts The Ride, they were actually filming this as they were auctioning off fixtures from the store as they were selling them. They were simultaneously doing both things.
Yeah, if you've never been to a Fry's Electronics, definitely check one out if there's one nearby.
There's not. They're all dead.
Different themed. Are they all dead?
They're all dead. It's gone.
Oh, that's too bad. This absolutely should have been like a city landmark. I grew up in Burbank, California. I still live in Burbank, California. The Fry's Electronic is always just a cool place to go. It had this wonderful 50s sci-fi theme, so I'm glad that it's at least immortalized in a really cool movie that's also, a UFO movie. So
sucks the one in the valley didn't make it into a movie somewhere also. But you know what? There are YouTube videos of a lot of them, and I implore you all to check them out.
Can't believe an electronics store can't survive in a city where there's a giant movie studio.
But it was really cool to see this, and the owner of Fry's Electronics has a cameo in this movie. He's like in a scene that takes place at Jupiter's Claim.
If you've never been,
seated in the bleachers.
If you've never been, the best way to describe Fry's Electronics is better than Best Buy in every way.
Yeah, picture Best Buy with like giant bugs or Alice in Wonderland theming.
Or just Best Buy, but good. Theming aside.
Yeah.
Theming aside.
Well, it was like twice the size of any Best Buy I've ever been in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And movie section. Unbelievable.
I don't know if that if they took down the UFO facade yet. I think it's still there, but like covered with a tarp or something. And I'm like, you know how much money you could make just like letting people take pictures in front of that now?
Honestly,
Unless
like
in a
it's
Jordan Peele movie.
it's so blocked off you can't really get close enough to see it, which kind of
Yeah.
sucks. They have walls around it now.
Now I know what my next review of this movie is going to be.
Casey and I, we would go there a lot of the time before Monster Palooza conventions back in the day.
Yeah, it was a good place to park.
Back in my day.
Like 6 years ago, not that long ago. Anyway, so what else do I want to say before we move on? I do think, Keke Palmer's character probably has the strongest character arc. There aren't like any drastic changes, I would say, from our leads from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. They kind of are who they are, but they make some choices. They grow.
I need some scores, guys. You know, I need
the score. It's good.
I gave it 4.5.
Nice.
Out of 5. 4.5.
Oh, for some reason I thought you were talking about music score.
But... No. I need scores for the letterboxd here.
And I really hate to say this because it's kind of probably too late for you, Casey, and probably anyone listening to this, but I would see this on the biggest screen you can think of.
I saw it in IMAX.
Yeah. The sound was amazing.
Yeah, it's been shoved into side theaters by now for sure.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it'll get a resurgence at some point.
It's definitely a very large scale kind of final act. It does kind of have a Close Encounters meets Tremors vibe, as Kris was talking about, especially that third act. You don't really find out a lot again about the UFO in the movie as far as like the. I just said UFO. Everyone knows this about a UFO. You don't find about like the origins of the UFO, the kind of central antagonistic force in this movie. There are deleted scenes, I've heard, that kind of delve into that. So hopefully, they unlike any kind of physical releases, that's there. But at least in the theatrical cut, you don't find out too much about it. So, but I mean, again, that's kind of also essential part of horror movies in general, is kind of that mystery element where not everything's explained. So I understood not getting into the kind of origins of our UFO. So, another thing I just wanted to mention, they segment this film by like names of the horses at Otis and M's ranch, and I thought that was an interesting choice. I don't know if it was really necessary, but it was kind of an interesting way to segment the film. Do you have any comment on that, Kris? How like it's like segmented into, I don't know.
Oh, I'd almost forgot about that, honestly.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I don't know why he felt the need to do that, but it was interesting. So you'll just get like a black screen with like the name of one of their horses, like Lucky, or I forget the other ones. Mm-hmm. Jean Jacket,
Playful,
of course. Yeah. So anyway, my final rating was 4 stars. It's a Jordan Peele movie. Of course, it's going to be great. You should absolutely see this. I definitely want to see it again when hopefully I don't have a splitting headache. And but yeah, it's fantastic. There's more we could get into as far as like themes and things like that, and everyone's talked about how it's his kind of commentary on spectacle and things like that. There's also a lot of, I would say, commentary on the kind of the mistreatment of maybe like kind of, or just commentary on like below the line workers on a film production set, things like that.
Worst managed film shoot ever.
That whole backstory with everything that happens there. How did that happen, and where did everyone go?
Yeah.
I can't, it's really hard to talk about without spoiling anything. So, but if you see the movie, you'll know what we're talking about. Anyway, so that was Nope. Really, really fantastic movie. One of the best horror releases of the year for sure. Go see it. It's great. Okay. So
take a deep breath.
Should we do Prey next, or should we do Midsummer Scream recap next?
Let's get the movies out of the way first.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
This is Don't Cross the Streams.
Oh, it's a big Twinkie. Okay, so my friends, I thought this was great, but I also hated the CGI and the Predator designs. So
really, I like the Predator design.
I thought the Predator was cool.
I thought his unmasking was as shitty as the unmasking in Jason Takes Manhattan. As far as what a letdown his face looked like.
He was a lean Predator. He was in shape.
He wasn't even like technically a Predator, I don't think. I think he was like a proto Predator.
I just thought he was like a primitive predator.
Yeah, like they're not. This is like saying a Neanderthal's a human. It's like different things. Like he didn't have he wasn't lobstery enough yet. But he was more buff and taller. Yeah,
he was tall.
Yeah, he felt more monster-like.
That said, I fucking loved this movie though.
Yeah, it's great.
It's good. I wasn't sure if you had seen it yet, Casey, so I thought, are we going to do another spoiler-free review?
No. I watched it
I don't feel like we
yesterday.
would really have to, because I don't think there are really spoilers for this film.
No, this is a pretty straightforward.
I mean, it's a Predator movie.
Right, yeah.
But
it doesn't try to, like, reinvent the genre or, spice things up in a totally radical way. It does it in a way that feels fresh but still like satisfyingly familiar.
I can't believe it's only the second movie in this franchise.
I know, right?
Because none of the other ones exist. I'm kidding, because Predator 2 has its moments, but it's when you look at it as like an extrapolation of LA after the riots and what people thought it was going to turn into. That makes the movie interesting.
I've never seen Predator 2, and I apparently made a mistake, according to a lot of people who came out of the woods on Twitter talking about this movie and then saying how good Predator 2 is, because there's like a connection between this and Predator 2.
Yeah, I mean, there is, but I'd say it's kind of a reach, honestly.
It's like a Easter egg.
Yeah, I mean, they put that in so they could have a Predator 2 reference, just like they put in the guy saying, if it bleeds, we can kill it.
Sure.
Which I groaned. That was supposed to be a fuck yeah moment.
What about when the Native American yelled, "Get to the chopper"? I mean, that was unnecessary.
That was a little weird too. People,
there was no chopper.
People were.
She was talking about an axe that was chopping things. So get to the chopper. That would have been great. I would have loved that.
Since this movie had a strong female protagonist, there were a lot of dipshits trying to nitpick a lot of the movie. Let's just say, if you're one of the people that really was up in arms over this girl beating the Predator or anything like that, stop listening to our podcast. Unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Thank you. We don't want you.
And neither do women. They don't want you either.
It's sorry. Like go download an incel podcast or something. But
go down to Mar-a-Lago. Okay?
Yeah.
Was this the first thing you guys had seen Amber Midthunder in?
Okay.
Yes.
No, but I forget what the other thing was.
Well, how dare neither of you have seen Legion?
Oh,
she's fucking great in Legion.
Legion, the X-Men show.
Watch it. Yes.
Yeah, I
with Dan Stevens, right?
Yeah,
yes.
I saw episodes of it, so I must have seen her on it. And just forgotten. Oh God, no! I've seen her in a movie. I just can't remember what.
But yeah, she's really fantastic in this. So I hope to see her in more horror movies, action films from now on.
She clearly loves it because she kicks a ton of ass on Legion. Yeah. So she clearly is like she wants to be in action. She wants to kick ass. She's very good at it.
So yeah, the basic kind of setup for this, for those that know nothing about it, it's set in, what is it, like the early 1700s? Is that?
Yeah, 1720 something.
Much like me, who didn't know anything about it until it had already dropped and people started talking about it. And I was like, wait, what? There's a Predator movie? What's happening? What is this world we live in?
Amber Midthunder plays Naru. Again, this is a very straightforward plot. It does rely on tired gender tropes, but it's executed well. She comes from the Comanche tribe, and she's kind of brought up and educated to be a healer, but she wants to be a hunter, mainly because no one thinks she can do it.
And she's great at both.
Which is,
people
she's
who think
fantastic at it.
People who think that's like forcing a woke storyline, it's like, this is just what would happen. This is just the time.
It was the early 1700s.
Also,
people were sexist then.
It also, like, if you can't deal with a female protagonist, you don't get to watch horror movies either. Just get the fuck out of here.
So her brother is the alpha hunter of this tribe. He's a good character. Dakota Beaver. His character's name is Tabe, I believe. And so she's probably learned a bit from him hunting wise, but he also doesn't necessarily believe she can be like an alpha hunter the way he can. And so, but he is willing to let her go on hunts. So one of the things I enjoyed about this movie is we kind of you get to see kind of Naru go on hunts with a Comanche, kind of tracking a lion. We get a fantastic sequence where she's stalked by a bear. Meanwhile, you also see this predator who has touched down in this forest, and he's hunting and doing what he's doing. So it really builds to
fantastic with quotes.
Their showdown.
I watched this in 4K. Maybe a mistake. That CGI looked like shit. And I'm just saying,
it's a mixture of not great CGI, but also really good practical effects and some fantastic fight sequences. So Naru also has a great dog named Sari, who was a good boy.
And a rescue
That's all
dog.
I was like, oh no, because anytime there's a dog and it barks on the TV, it makes our dog bark. And I'm just
I started watching the movie and I'm like, Predator better not fucking kill this dog. Because he kills a wolf, which is pretty much killing a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's okay, though. The dog doesn't die. We're willing to spoil that for you, because if you're one of the people that hates when a dog dies, you probably went to doesthedogdie.com just to look it up.
I did like, again, how they tied in. I mean, Naru's central kind of plight is being overlooked and underestimated, and the Predator also underestimates her because he doesn't even sense her as a threat.
Right.
With his sensing abilities. And I liked how they kind of tied those two things together. There are multiple scenes where she's like in a kind of fighting situation with the Predator and some other, either her allies or these Voyagers, these kind of French fur trappers, and the Predator doesn't sense her as a threat until like the end of the movie. So
which she uses to her advantage.
Wow, that trapper sure learned his lesson. Jesus fucking Christ.
They all did.
Yeah.
Is it considered learning a lesson if you're dead?
I mean, waking up the way he woke up and noticing what happened, possibly. But I got to give this movie extra points for making quicksand a thing again.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was getting never-ending story flashbacks.
I think we both. Yes. I think me and my wife both went, haven't seen quicksand in a movie in a while.
I was like, Artax! Artax!
I said the same thing.
Yeah. But yeah, this was fantastic. The final showdown's really cool. I wish it went like a few minutes longer.
Yeah, but, I feel like the final blow was a little lame. Like, I would have liked to have seen something different happen there. Because it seemed dumb for him to fall for that, but he had a traumatic brain injury going in. So, like a very traumatic brain injury going in.
It was some good setup and payoff, though.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was something that they did set up earlier. I would love to have this as skin in the Predator game, which I've reviewed on here before. It's a great game. I haven't played it since I got a PS5. He might be in there right now. I don't fucking know. He would be a great action figure. She would be a better action figure.
Already are.
It's
already happened.
There are figures of them?
Oh, yeah. So I think I follow her on Twitter, or at least on Twitter I was seeing people being like, okay, we need action figures now, and then they were already a few like hours later they were already tweeting crude ones that were made.
I've seen figures confirmed of the prey Predator, but not of her. There is an announcement from NECA though. They call him the feral Predator officially.
Yeah.
So they're saying it's possible we'll see Naru, but we're getting the Predator for sure. Okay. Possible we'll see Naru. You fucking make Naru Randy, if you're listening to this. Randy from NECA. Call him out by name.
Anyway, this is we should mention that this is directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who this is his first feature since 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is also a really great movie. If you've not seen that, check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he's been doing, but I read that he was supposed to do the Uncharted film, and he was like, I think he dropped out of that last minute due to probably creative differences.
Yeah, due to realizing that it wouldn't be any good whatsoever, and it wasn't.
And he also, I think, directed an episode of The Boys, but he's a great director, so I really hope to see more from him, and not like 6 years from now, and like, a year or two. Because he's a good director.
We're in the era where like some really great filmmakers have to spend several years like in the shit machine, like trying to fight for their visions, and realizing that there's some studios that will just not allow it until they just say fuck it and give up and do something else.
I like how one of the main things in his Wikipedia is he is not related to Michelle Trachtenberg.
How many Trachtenbergs could there possibly be?
Yeah, in the entertainment industry as well.
Yeah, I noticed that too. That was pretty funny. It's like, please stop asking me
Yeah,
this.
please stop asking me if I'm related to Nona
Buffy
from
fans.
Pete.
I feel like he
Stop
wrote
asking
that
me.
in there himself.
Buffy fans are one thing, but Pete and Pete fans are even more hardcore. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot she was on that show.
Harriet the Spy, bro.
Harriet the Spy was great, but I don't think they ever explained how Nona broke her arm, and I'm still angry about it. She had the Cowboy Bob Orton permanent cast. She never once used it as a weapon. Never once. We're gonna do a Pete and Pete episode of the show. We have to. The Halloweenies, we have to.
So yeah, that was Prey. What was your ratings, guys?
Oh, I did higher than you guys. I saw your ratings. I gave this a 4.
Oh, I thought Kris was a 4. You're not a 4, Kris?
I'm a 3.5. I think it's like super solid, but I think also, yeah, I kind of feel that CGI, like it's a little too slick looking. Like it, if it had been like, you know, a little bit more gritty, you know, a little bit more like rub some fucking dirt on this lens, you know, like put some fucking scratches on this thing, then yeah, it might have bumped it up just a little bit, but the CGI does suffer in some areas.
It sucks because the cinematography is so great. And
yeah,
but
it's just such a digital looking movie.
Yeah,
for something that doesn't need to look like that. The content, you know, does not need to feel like that.
Budget wasn't super great for this one, so
well, yeah,
I think that's part of the problem. Yeah,
for its budget though, it's super solid.
What's your rating, Zach?
Same as Kris, 3.5 out of 5. That's like a high B plus for me. Pretty much similar.
I'm sorry,
reasons.
you guys both hate women.
No, she was fantastic. I also just wanted a little lengthier final showdown between the two after they were building throughout the whole movie, but I did like the final showdown.
I was hoping her Mortal Kombat tomahawk would be used more. She does kick some ass with it, but yeah, man.
Yeah, and give her like a badass final line or something. Like, I'm not gonna say one because it'll be stupid.
I wanted a shot when they or have this whole movie actually be in Comanche instead of in English.
They have version of that, and I think
it's
that
dubbed,
language, but I don't think is it dubbed?
It's dubbed, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, thank you.
Yeah, I was hoping that was another thing. They like speaking English throughout the whole movie, and it's like, yeah. I mean,
it's weird how like some like Chernobyl, they speak English the entire time, but because it's like in British accents and some Russian accents, it almost sounds like, okay, I can accept that a little bit more. But if it's a fucking American accent, it's like, no.
No, this was taking the Xena and Hercules approach to speaking in a modern way and speaking in modern English despite not doing it. It doesn't bother me unless it's A Knight's Tale. I don't know why it bothered me so much.
A Knight's Tale is a different thing, though.
I like A Knight's Tale, dude.
Purposely going for
great.
They did it on purpose.
For a postmodern. A Knight's Tale is purposefully postmodern, though. I mean, they're fucking singing Queen songs in that movie.
Yeah,
that movie's entertaining as hell. Okay, this is great. Yeah, 3.5 out of 5. Check out Prey. Another one of the I think.
It's just so fucking baffling to me, though.
This year.
It's just so fucking baffling to me, though, that we live in this world where this movie, I never saw a trailer for this movie before it was released. Like almost no fanfare. This is definitely spreading through word of mouth, and the fact that, you know, people are like, oh, it's a new Predator movie, but like it just showed up one day and it's so good, and it's like totally a movie that's worth watching in a theater. It's just a weird world we live in.
I think selling the company in the middle of its almost release window had a little bit to do with that. But yeah, there's some weird stuff up in the air there. But you know what is extra weird, because I'm gonna make this fast, Zach. I'm gonna throw this in there with Don't Cross the Streams, because you can only download this game. You cannot buy it physically. I want to talk about Cult of the Lamb really quick. My God, everyone needs to play this game. And it's on everything. You can get it on the PC, you can get it on the Switch, you can get it on Xbox, you can get it on PlayStation. 4 and 5. Okay, so I want you to think of Animal Crossing, all of the cute little animals. I want you to think of Tom Nook. And I know a lot of people have compared Tom Nook to Satan, but what if Tom Nook was really Satan? And I want you to think Animal Crossing. Every once in a while, you get that annoying villager. And you think, I really wish I could kill this guy and feed him to everyone else. Oh, you can in this game. Yes, because this is a cute animal cult simulator. And it goes a little heavy into the Satan a little bit. It's like it's a pseudo satanic cult run by a sacrificial lamb that is empowered by the god he was supposed to prevent happening. Kind of like a Lovecraftian old god, but mixed with a demon. That would allow this giant god to come into existence in our material plane. So this god brings him back to life and says, "Get a cult surrounding you," and you save all these cute animals, and you run a cult, and you can be a nice leader, or you can do rituals where they fight each other to the death for your entertainment and for the entertainment of everyone else. You can teach them to be vegetarians, or you can have them be cannibals. Or, there's in between as well. It's really fun stuff. That's not the core gameplay mechanic. That's just what's running in the background while you do a roguelike game where you're fighting monsters and stuff like that as well. And you use that to gather resources. So there's an interesting gameplay loop where you're going and fighting stuff for the good of your cult.
It kind of reminded me like aesthetically a little like Binding of Isaac-y.
Yeah, and I mean the roguelike gameplay is like that, except more melee focused. Well, that was kind of more like a shooter almost.
Yeah.
You do get stuff that shoots, but it has a cooldown. It's more like a spell. It's more Zelda-y as far as the actual like fighting goes.
That's rad.
In that it's melee based. And you can sometimes shoot a projectile out of your melee weapon, stuff like that, if you get the right ability. So yeah, you're basically strengthening your cult to strengthen yourself in there, but the things you do in there strengthen your cult. So it's really a gameplay loop. It's really satisfying. I heard you can beat it in like 12 to 15 hours. I'm about 9 hours in, and I'm on the second boss out of 4, and then you have to fight the big guy at the end. Yeah, there's a lot of gameplay left for me. There's all these little cool side diversions like gambling and fishing and gathering mushrooms so that you can do a ritual where everyone's on mushrooms and follows everything you have to say. You brainwash them while they're tripping balls. Yeah, great game. It's fucked up, like really fucked up. Like sometimes you get a follower that likes to eat shit, and that was my first follower, was a guy that likes to eat shit. And every once in a while they'll be like, "Please don't judge me, Lord, but I would really like to eat food made out of poop. Can you make that happen?" And yeah, you can make it happen. You can make it happen. And it's funny though, because they build it into their reactions too, because sometimes people see shit lying around and they'll get really grossed out and they'll throw up. But those people, they see shit lying around and they get happy and they start like doing a little dance. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. And this is literally my first fucking follower that was like that. There's all kinds of traits. You can get dissenters that go into your cult and start turning people against you. So you can like put them in prison or murder them. You can literally murder them, but that gets people a little upset. But if they believe in ritual sacrifice, you kill them in front of everyone anyway, and then everyone's happy because they sacrifice themselves for the greater good. Good stuff.
Oh my gosh.
So it gets you thinking all this fucked up stuff you can do. But yeah,
good.
It's really fun. This is the kind of game that a lot of people would be really offended by during the satanic panic of the 80s, and I think that's 100% intentional. But yeah, it's called Cult of the Lamb. It's really weird. It's really messed up. It's really fun. So check it out. Or not. Like if you think that any of these themes sound disturbing, Steer clear of the game because I just barely scratched the surface. I give it like a 4 out of 5. It's pretty good. I haven't beaten the game yet though.
The animation gave me like Invader Zim vibes.
Yeah, it very much looks like something that came out of that semi-flash era of animation. But it's so fun. It's so fun. Anyway, I was playing it right before the show actually. Good stuff. I do got to say there's a lot of bugs right now though. They need to fix that shit because I had a lot of crashes last night. It seemed like the longer you play, the more bugs you get too. So I feel like there's like a memory leak in there or something. But yeah, I did. It was nothing that I couldn't just save and exit the game. Like nothing froze. It just made it that you would stop being able to interact with anything and it would screw up. So yeah, check it out. Good stuff.
Check it out.
That's not the most interesting thing in the last couple weeks. Zach and I, we went to a horror convention.
We did indeed.
And we went all out. Me? Oh, Kris, you fucked up. You should have flown out. Because this was great. Oh my God. This was MIDSUMMER Scream. And MIDSUMMER Scream is a haunt convention. So there's 2 floors that you can go on. There is the regular floor where you buy merch and you buy stuff for haunts, and the merch is taking over. It's becoming more like a Monster Palooza on the sales floor. It used to be more like professional stuff, like you would have 50 fog machine vendors there. Now you just have like 1, maybe 2. But there's also the Hall of Shadows, and the Hall of Shadows is where you go to go through mini haunts. Some of them great, some of them not so great.
Mini or many?
Mini. There's only about 6.
Mini.
6 or 7.
How many haunts are there?
I have to check how many there were. We didn't.
It was
one of them
6 or
we couldn't
7.
go on because
Yeah.
it was like closed a lot of the day. So if you are, a SoCal resident or want to come to SoCal to experience one of these conventions, let me just say the difference between Monster Palooza and MIDSUMMER Scream is that Monster Palooza is very much focused on the practical effects industry and makeups and sculpts and cowls. It's really focused on the artists of that industry. You see lots of vendors selling like prosthetics and makeup, tools and things like that. You get like a museum where you see lots of sculpts and things like that. It's focused on practical effects. You see lots of people walking around doing makeup demos.
It attempts to be. Lately, it's just a horror convention.
Yeah, well, there's still general horror stuff there. You have signings and you have, t-shirt vendors and Blu-rays and figures and stuff like that. But the focus on Monster Palooza is supposed to be practical effects makeup, whereas MIDSUMMER Scream, the focus is really on Halloween and like the haunt industry. Mm-hmm. So you get like vendors that are like, here's how to make, like a haunted rolling cart ride, dark ride. Here's here's fog, here's and then you get your regular horror stuff like t-shirts and people selling books and celebrity signings, and then you have like a lot of the like smaller like SoCal haunt industry people that have like little haunts throughout their neighborhoods doing like little previews of what they're going to do in October that you can walk through with scare actors. And then you also have like the bigger guys like Halloween Horror Nights, Universal Studios, and Not Scary Farm, things like that have panels up throughout the weekend, and they'll kind of tease or reveal or preview what they're doing.
Man, talk about teases. There was a giant Shacktoberfest sign. No Shacktoberfest representation otherwise. Come on.
We needed like a giant zombie shack or something,
Dude, we needed Shaq himself high-fiving us is what we needed. I would jump. I would do like the Shawn Michaels Diesel, like jumping high five with him. With Shaq Diesel, yes.
So yeah, that's the general difference between the two conventions. MIDSUMMER Scream is a much like bigger convention space. It's in Long Beach Convention Center. It's a really nice area, really spacious area.
I highly recommend doing drive to.
Yeah. It's not terrible. I do recommend if you do try and do MIDSUMMER Scream, get the Golden Bat Pass. It's expensive, but you get in an hour early and you can avoid the craziness that will take over the floor.
And you get front of the line access
during the middle of the day.
Front of the line access to the haunts, which is a big deal.
But it was great to kind of walk through that area before everyone kind of crashed in and just it was a madhouse eventually.
Yeah.
But they also have performances throughout the day. They had like a zombie. They had a zombie ballet thing, which we could not get Casey to wait for, but we were honestly waiting for the wrong show. I think.
I think that was the fashion show that you guys were really waiting for. Yeah, I was
I don't know
hungry,
what it
dude.
was. Yeah.
Oh, and we got to talk about where we went to eat. We went to the Fourth Horseman. It's a heavy metal and horror themed pizza place that's in Long Beach.
Yeah.
Good pizza, man. Good pizza,
Yeah,
kind of
definitely
cool
recommend
atmosphere.
it. I was frustrated though because I had no say as to what pizza we ordered because we split a pizza and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, we got this one," and I was like, "Wait, what did you order?" And it was good, but it's not the one I would have chosen. So
it was the Angel of Death, which had blue cheese on it. It was pretty interesting.
blue cheese pizza. You chose a blue cheese pizza.
Yes, I did.
I don't mind blue cheese, but it's not my go-to for a pizza.
We could have bought 2 pizzas. It's all good.
But I had a slice of regular, I think, cheese or pepperoni, and that was great as well. So yeah, definitely check out Fourth Horseman. Really, really cool vibe.
And there's a cool
pizza.
art gallery in the back. If you go past the bathrooms, there's a semi-affiliated horror-themed art gallery back there. Really cool.
And the bathrooms themselves are bathed in red light, which just makes you feel like you're infernal.
Yeah, when I took my dick out, I said, "That's got to be Kane." But
thanks, Casey.
Yeah.
I do want to touch on the Hall of Shadows a little more at Midsummer Scream. So when you go to the Hall of Shadows this year, they had a setup called like Trick or Treat Lane, I think is what it was, and they had like different themed houses where people would stand outside. You could get candy if you wanted. They had like a Freddy Krueger themed house. I had a Halloween 3 themed one. My favorite was a Gremlins themed house, and they had like a projection of Gremlins in one of the windows, and they had a gremlin on the roof. That was fantastic. So really cool stuff. The actual Hall of Shadows itself is so freaking foggy you can like barely see through like the entire floor.
And it dumped into the snack bar and the bathrooms as well. So you had spooky bathrooms, which is tremendous.
So, but really hats off to all the whole crew and everyone that put together Midsummer Scream. I have some friends that have work it and are responsible for putting it together, and they do a great job. It's not easy, I'm sure, to put all that together.
So, I wanted to highlight the haunts a little bit, Zach. So
yeah.
Okay, so there's some we're forgetting. I remember the names of none of them except for the one that was unfortunately called the Corona Haunt. For those of you that aren't from, if you're not from the area, Corona is a city in California, and that's why it's called the Corona Haunt. So we had one. The very first one we went into was kind of a haunted house facade, and it had kind of a haunted mansion theme inside, but it had a lot of cool stuff. It had a custom talking head video that was animated and looked pretty cool. It had some good scares in it because this had a lot of fold down walls where people were jumping out at you. And I think this one, Zach was first. So he got blasted.
I was first in most of them.
He got blasted pretty hard in this one. And there was a dark hallway that instantly turned on the lights and had someone pop out of the wall. That was a very effective scare. Got all of us. It was great. There was one that was Japanese themed, that the theming was amazing. It actually had some pretty great paper walls, sliding. It had a lot of people with kind of like kabuki masks in there and like the samurai masks with the fangs and stuff like that. There was a potted plant that came alive that was a person. That was a pretty effective scare in that one.
I thought you were about to say there was a potted plant that came alive. That wasn't part of the thing, but it was just it just happened.
Now this is cool. They had like a hole in the ground. We went up an incline so a person could fit, and they had a person just as a plant, and then they lunge at you. Good stuff. They used a lot of like really loud clicks and bangs to kind of scare you in that one. There was one that was an asylum themed one, I guess you would call it. There were a lot of people just asking you to stay there with them. That was their scare tactic. I never find that one very effective. There was one that was Western themed that was pretty great because they had bungee jumpers in there. They had some really cool animatronic scares when you walked by. Some great stuff. The best one though, by far, was the Satanic Church that was in the back. And these were the people that did the Snake Temple last year. That was so great. And
I forget the name of their haunt, but it's a larger scale haunt.
but
I
it's
just don't know where
out
it
in
is.
like Fresno or Riverside or something. But it's a ways away from us. But or Lake Arrowhead or something. I think it's Lake Arrowhead Haunt or something like that is what it is. They had some great stuff. So you go into this church. Everyone's using silicone masks in this one, so they all look pretty great. They had this room that really stood out. So it was inflatable, the room, but the walls were inflated to where they were touching, and you had to squeeze through to get out. So it was like you were being born. And there's a monster on the other side.
I'm being born.
So they inflated it to the point of where it could induce claustrophobia and
Oh
sensitive
yeah,
people.
those things are always a treat.
So it was good stuff. I thought it was pretty innovative. Last year they had waist level inflatables to make you feel like you were trudging through a swamp. So they get some really creative stuff going on there. I loved it. But yeah, the Morona haunt I don't really remember. It was the last one.
They were really nice, and I just remembered them needing a few more scare actors, but I definitely recommend checking it out if they're in your area.
Yeah.
This was obviously just a preview of what they're going to be doing, So, yeah, I just remember the name. I feel like the branding could have been a little better on some of those mazes, but there was.
Yeah, like don't call it the Corona haunt.
No, I mean it was so dark in there. It was just hard to see like the signs of what like the haunts were, and I feel like that was maybe last time they had this that was a little better implemented. But I did want to highlight George Noonem's Casa Calaveras, which was this walkthrough art exhibit, Day of the Dead themed.
Awesome stuff.
Some really cool like tableaus. If you go to my profile, you'll see some there was like a fortune teller like thing. It kind of tells a story of this couple. And there's like a mausoleum, and it was just really, really, really beautiful.
No
really
scares.
Kind of neon colors. It was
Just
it was not
a
a scary
museum.
thing.
It was really cool though.
If you're like into Coco or just any Day of the Dead stuff, it's definitely that vibe, and it was really cool.
Muertos.
So if you want to follow them on Instagram, look up the Casa Calaveras. That's TheCasa Calaveras. The Casa Calaveras.
Yes, or Casa for those that aren't painfully white. So
Thanks, Casey.
you're welcome. So we bought a lot of movies, and we'll talk about those later. But we bought a lot of movies. I got to meet.
You did. I bought one movie and a T-shirt.
I bought like 8, and a few shirts. 2 shirts. But yeah, this was fun stuff. This is one of the better conventions that is out there. It's really coming for you, Monsterpalooza. Just saying, these guys are gunning for you in quality and in execution.
Yeah, they had some really great stuff set up. They had there was a Pizza Planet vehicle set up that had like zombie, little 3-eyed aliens from Toy Story, and like a corpse in the front seat. It was pretty great.
They had coffin-shaped brownies.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You guys were all about those brownies.
Those were heavy.
They had like someone was set up doing like tattoos in this convention center, which I thought was insane.
Yeah.
There was a tattoo tent.
I mean, I've been to tattoo conventions where that's been happening. So it was kind of normal to me, but yeah.
I wouldn't advise getting a tattoo in a tent at a horror convention. I'm sure they're a great artist. I'm just saying, think about your tattoo. You know what I mean? So
this definitely had a lot more drinking stations than Monsterpalooza.
Oh, did it? Yeah, I guess it did.
Yeah.
Lots of food trucks and stuff outside.
Yeah, this was the food trucks were outside. There's a lot of restaurants around it. There's a lot more eating options in Monsterpalooza, even though Monsterpalooza is across the street from El Cholo, and I love that place. Yeah, it's interesting. There is a Son of Monster Palooza in October. I'm not planning on going because it's my girlfriend's birthday. So, yeah.
Same. I'm not going because it's October and there's like
I thought Zach, you were about to say same. I'm not going because it's Casey's girlfriend's birthday.
Yeah.
I got a second date with her. So.
Yeah, the Son of Monster Palooza is back in Burbank. Ooh. It's gonna be crowded. Buy your tickets in advance, or you're gonna not get in. Let's just put it that way. It's crowded to the point of not being enjoyable, in my opinion. But I do love Monster Palooza. I do still consider it my home convention. It's just Son of's. Maybe move those to Pasadena as well.
Yeah. So that was our episode this week.
Yeah, go do some shopping, guys. Go. Michael's has their stuff out.
Yeah, Halloween is officially hitting stores. I saw CVS start to put out their stuff. I haven't really seen too much Halloween candy yet, but
there's like
a
hint of a breeze we felt this morning. Like the essence, the tingling of fall.
Oh, it's
still just barely coming through.
Still 102.
I mean, yeah, it's still 80, 85 here, but yeah.
That you gotta love that fall tingle.
Mm-hmm. Love me a little fall tingle.
I don't know why I'm just thinking of UTIs now, but
have some cranberries.
I got the fall tingle.
Yep, get some cranberry juice for that fall tingle. So Target for us doesn't have anything yet because they are still doing back to school, but LAUSD goes back to school next week, as do most of the outliers. So we should start seeing stuff soon.
We got an exciting lineup of fall products coming up.
Yeah.
Food wise.
And apparently,
if you're into spooky snacks,
apparently Voodoo's already hit. We talked about Monster cereals already. It's funny because all the news sites are just picking it up now when we've known for a month now. And it's, if you have a Sam's Club card, you can get everything right now, basically. What's new that looks amazing is, the Pillsbury little cookies that are in the little circles and you just put them in and bake them. Like they have the ghosts on them and stuff.
The ones I never buy.
Oh, tradition for me. They have Frankenberry and Chocula now. Which is amazing. And yes, they are berry and chocolate flavored. And yes, they are safe to eat without cooking them. There's no eggs inside. So hopefully by next week, I'll find them. This is really wishful thinking. I do not think I'll find them. They are showing up on the East Coast, but they get everything first. Everything.
Also need to wish a happy belated birthday to Casey.
Thank you.
So I forgot to mention that last time.
Yeah,
so
Zach
birthday,
got me
buddy.
some sick Halloween decorations from Halloween 3 and a creature from the Black Lagoon from Jada Toys. Hey, way to lose.
I got you like an actual creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yes.
He's like, I don't know where he is, but
I was going to use this as an opportunity to shit on Jada Toys for losing our contact info. But hey, they make good toys. It's a sick creature.
They filed it somewhere.
It's got good articulation. Their toys are good. Like I said in the last episode, check them out. They're up and coming.
It's going to be a very exciting October because this year, guys, Halloween ends.
Evil dies tonight.
Thank God.
Evil dies tonight.
Thank God Halloween ends.
After that last one, I'm like, thank God.
And I did get the 4K Halloween 2 and Halloween 3 for my birthday. So I'll probably review those soon as well.
I ordered pre-ordered the 4K Return of the Living Dead.
Same.
They got me with that poster.
Yeah, it's Scream Factory. You got to join the 4K revolution, Kris.
Hey, one day when I have money.
Yeah, it sucks because 4K players are really expensive. Zach and I are only part of it because the PS5 plays them.
I did my annual summer watch of The Lost Boys last night, and it's great. I need to get the 4K release of that, though.
I need to throw that on. It's been a while.
It's perfect time of year to watch it.
The 4K release is a little pricey right now.
It's like $25 on Amazon.
Okay, that's not bad. Last I looked, it was 35. So
No,
yeah.
it's 25. Anyway, you can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/AMP Horror. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube under Another Wishful Podcast. If you enjoy what we do, check out our website. You'll find all the streaming services we're available on. And if you feel so inclined, please give us a nice review on Apple Podcasts or whatever streaming service you're available on. I never ask for that anymore, but it would be really nice. We would love to hear your feedback if you enjoy what we put out. So
If not,
please consider that.
If not, just go away. It's fine.
But you can also follow my lovely co-host here, Kris. Where can they find you?
You can find me on the Letterboxd and on the Twitters at Kris Pistol, Kris with a K, Pistol with a E.
What about your podcast? Can you hear the pod tonight? You just put out a new episode,
That's
right?
on. It was a few weeks ago, but yeah, it's on YouTube. You can find that by searching.
What's
Can
the
You Hear the Pod
podcast? What's the episode?
We did a Goofy movie last, and we're prepping a Lady and the Tramp episode right now.
Ooh.
You want to see a movie with some weird fans?
yeah, that'll probably be a good bit of our conversation since Lady and the Tramp's kind of a boring movie. Sorry.
Yeah.
We were both kind of like, well, what do we talk about?
All right, my friends. Until next time.
Wait, I didn't plug my. You didn't? Did you plug your?
Oh, I don't want people contacting me.
He doesn't like plugs.
No, it's fine. Look, if you wanna bother me on Twitter, it's at Lucha Gringo. I have a private account, but I'll probably let you in if you don't look like a weirdo. And you can follow me on Letterboxd at Lucha Gringo. See all my reviews of all the movies I bought, because I'm probably only going to talk about like 2 or 3 on this podcast. So if you really want to see what I've been watching, Letterboxd is the way to go. And you're going to see how I haven't watched shit in the last 2 weeks except for Prey. I've been too goddamn busy.
Yeah, and I've been watching a lot of Sherlock Holmes movies. That's about it for me.
You can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Earth2Zach, Earth, the number 2, Zach, Z-A-K, and Letterboxd as well under the same handle, and Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. Again, if you want to if you're interested in being a guest on the show, if you have something you'd like to promote, if you just want to talk horror movies with us, if you have a movie you want to recommend, you can write us at anothermishbowlpodcast@gmail.com, or you can send me a DM on any of those accounts. I will respond. I'm a nice guy, I promise.
I promise I'm not. If you try to DM me on Twitter, no, unless you're cool, that's fine. It's fine. Look, if I'm letting you follow me, you're cool. Okay.
We have a lot of cool stuff in the works. I'm really looking forward to our Halloween.
We have such cool stuff in the works that I'm like, I wish we could talk about what we have in the works. There's something cool in the works.
Yeah, that we purposely did not talk about in this episode.
Yeah.
But you'll find that out in the fall. So we'll see what happens for the rest of August. We have another episode we should get out, so we'll see how that goes.
Hashtag in the works.
In the works. Until then, take it easy, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Stay cool. Stay safe. And we'll see you soon.